So sitting here with Chucky BLK, how's it going?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I just got out of work not too long ago, so I'm just kind of chilling. It's Black History Month, so what up?
Yeah. I've been starting the episodes by asking what are you listening to right now, and what's been your go-to song this week? I'm always curious to know.
Go-to song. Man. Um, so album wise, I've been trying to take like a deeper dip into like more underground rap and stuff like that. So there's this album called Grand's Sixth Sense by Idea and Abilities. I think this cat was like maybe like 14, it's like early 90s or something like that. He was like 14, like rapping with like Atmosphere at the time. And it's just like some of the craziest bars. It's like it's got a teenage level of angst, but I'm like, I don't hear rappers rapping like this right now. So that's been a sweet go-to. Another album I've been listening to is it's called I believe it's Brass, and it's by Billy Woods and More Mother, and definitely on like the more abstract realm of hip hop. It feels like some of the tracks start out and it's just like them painting a picture, and I was like, okay, wow, this is beautiful and should belong in a museum, but no, it's free to the people. um, and then what's called Song Wise, that song Hit Different by SZA. I've been going back to Control as well. No, I'm not like exactly the target audience, but like all those songs are so good. I'm looking forward to an album from her.
Cool.
How about yourself?
Oh, let's see.
Aha, on the spot.
Dude, no, that's tough. I feel like I have to pull up my Spotify. I'm honestly going to.
Same. That's what I was doing. I was like, all right, cool. Yep, that's it.
Maybe okay. I'll say Life Without Buildings, which is this really weird like stream of consciousness vocalist from like Glasgow. That's like really old, and apparently I think it's like blowing up on TikTok right now. Which
that's so weird.
Yeah, my bandmates just put me on recently, which is yeah. So that's really weird and not exactly in my normal realm, but that's been good.
You got to throw that in the chat so I could peep that later.
I will. Here, let me.
Right. We're utilizing all the tools of Zoom.
I'll forget if I don't do it right now. But
thank you.
Yeah, so man, I really should plan for that next time. I thought about it and I was like, man, no one's gonna ask me, so like, what's the point? But I appreciate you asking. I appreciate it. I like to talk about that.
I'm trying to like grow and like expand, but yeah.
Yeah, man, if you want recommendations, just DM me. I'll send you some stuff. But,
turn up.
So I want to get into this new album, a scathing critique of current affairs and your music in general. So I was gonna ask you, I know you have a background in slam poetry, and I was wondering how that informs your approach to rap music, or if it does at all, and do you think that influence shines through at all, like in a specific place on this album?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was doing like slam poetry from like my junior year of high school up until like the last like 2 years. So like, I think I learned how to write with slam poetry and poetry in general. I learned how to think, I learned how to feel. Like so much of my emotional expression and how I express myself is a direct result from the people who've like put so much time and effort into like, teaching me how to be a badass poet. So, or badass poet, I would like to think, yeah, no, it's called, it's weird because when I got into music, I like wanted to like have like a severing the ties to slam poetry. Like so many people would be like, oh yeah, he's a slam poet rapper, and that's like the title I never wanted, because I feel like some people who like are really into that, I'm like, oh man, you're doing slam poetry over rap. I don't think these aren't bars, shout out to whoever does that. But yeah, so for a little bit there, I try to like do the complete opposite of it, but I finally I think the pendulum has swung back to the point where, I can embrace it, especially with this project. I mean, the track's like a prequel to, that's just like Gil Scott Heron. Like that's like my poetry version of that. And the name of that track also goes back to my first project, which is like, it was like 75% slam poetry and like 25% rap. So it's like, cool. We're back home. We're back at the starting point. So, yeah, no, I think, there's a certain kind of like force, or I think immediacy that I think rap, hip hop, or any sort of art making should have. And so I think that directly like influences my philosophy as far as like, why am I speaking to you right now and making it rhyme,
Mm-hmm. I think that it gives your music just a great like extra layer. Like I feel like a lot of it just adds to, there's so much an emphasis on lyricism, which of course there is in like all rap music, but I think that just like having that background, it just gives it this different like texture, which is really great.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like I always thank my dad for that. My dad's a preacher, so like I try to avoid being preachy ever in my music or anything like that, because I'm not here to tell you how to live your life or whatever. But like childhood spent like every Sunday watching him, and like I don't know if you are acquainted with like the like black church, but it's like the Southern black church experience, or like my dad specific, it's like so much you could feel like the spirit. So within the preacher or whatever. So I try to kind of bring that similar energy to whenever either our rap or either in the lyrics. So yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. What when you put so much effort and emphasis on lyrics, I wonder like how much do you think about the musical side, and how much like do you take a big role in that, or do you kind of pass it off to producers and rely on them, or are you really active in like, this is the kind of type of beat I want, and this is the type of instrument I want on this beat, or like I want this sort of melody or anything like that?
I feel like I'm pretty hands off as far as like the beats go. I think specifically with this project, I think the skill it comes that I think I have is just like knowing the good guys, like the talented guys, the people who know the vision, or just like having to hunt and gather like the beat that's not going to poison me, essentially. You know what I mean? I like I try to like make sure like the sonic qualities of the beat match the qualities of the lyrics, And so I think, I think it's like like a balancing act. I think I try to hold both at the same time. Sometimes I lean a little more to the lyrics because that's like what my skill set is. That's where my skill sets are at. But I think the music's just as important. So it's just like just even just having a good ear. I think that's what some rappers like. I think some people, just musicians in general, need. Like, what is the aesthetic qualities you're going for, and do you know what you want? Because I feel like a lot of people don't know what I want. They're just like, oh yeah, give me that boom bap trap lo-fi beats to study to, like, and it's like, can we get a little more specific?
Yeah. Do you when you're writing, do you tend to write over a beat that you've already found, or are you like kind of writing ahead of time and then plugging in lyrics to the right beat?
It's kind of it's depending on like what the resources are looking like. I mean, if I have an excess of beats, yeah, I'll sit with a beat and like mold like whatever lyrics to fit into that. But I know for the scathing critique of current affairs, it was like the majority, I think 75%, 80% of the beats were supposed to be completely different. Like I had this project ready to drop in June, and then things just like didn't work out, and so I lost like 80% of the beats there, and like really had to be like, hey, do I want to do this again? Is it like worth it? Because I was like, my ego was hurt. Not even my ego, but like yeah, my ego, like that's the part of me, like the Chucky Black was hurt. So I was like in a little rut, but luckily, I was able to through kind of like serendipitous situations, just find people on the internet, connect with homies who've made beats for me in the past, and really try to explain the vision. And it came together, and I think came together even better. Like you break a bone, and that shit's like even harder next time. He's like, what do you call the iron body technique? Just keep on punching that wall until
Do you how many, like, do you have a lot of different producers, like beat producers on this album? Or I was wondering, like, how do you make sure it's flowing from song to song, and because your albums are always like really cohesive, like sonically. So like if you're using different producers, you have to sit down and like be like, maybe show them tracks that are already finished and be like, this is like kind of what we're going for.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of it's just like, it's kind of like, I think, let me think about the producer. So I think 2 or 3 tracks was produced by this guy from Brussels named Shungu. Super crazy. He in January of last year, he released this like tape of 100 spiritual beats, and there's like 100 lists, like just dope ass beats. So he produced a couple. There was this producer named TV Nix. I was like watching a live stream of like one of my favorite rap groups called the Ruby Yacht, and they were like, yeah, this song I really liked in the project. They were like, yeah, it's produced by TV Nix. So I was like, okay, let me hit this person up, and they produced like 3 tracks. A close friend of mine, Luke, who's like friend of mine, Luke, who I know from high school, and we got into like making music similar times. And he produced one song by itself, and then a prequel to was him and like some of my other like the people I generally usually work with. And then finally, Zach Kurzman was on like the Scathing critique track. And luckily, I feel like I gave everybody a pretty good description of what I was looking for. And like, I kind of like, especially as far as like keeping the sound cohesive, I'm always interested, like, how do I make a conceptual tape without making like, in the beginning, the hero steps into like, I mean, how do I do that without words? And so like trying to like meld these emotions, or even like, I think one of my favorite parts is like once you have all the songs done and just like sitting there trying to puzzle piece each song together and be like, what's the flow of this? What's the story? Like, where do I want to end this? What kind of emotion do I want the listener to leave this body of work with? You know what I mean? And I think those are like super interesting questions, and like a lot of my favorite artists, like, paint that so vividly. So that's like the goal always. So I mean, I just like, I try to like, of course, be like, here's what I'm working on right now. Can you make anything in the same vein? Or like, also like, here's the emotion. Here's like this picture I'm trying to paint. Like, sometimes, I mean, it's music, so you got to speak in like abstraction. So like, I'm trying to get that train running past my childhood creek where me and my dad used to skip rocks, and try to like get that vibe. So
that's cool. I always imagined it might be kind of hard, but it sounds like it kind of comes naturally to, I guess, people who do that for a living, but which makes sense. I was wondering, how would you describe the Chucky BLK aesthetic? Is that like something you've tried to like cultivate at all, or is it something that you just kind of let happen?
I think, I just like, it's generally what I try to make happen. I feel like if I wanted to be more popular, I would have a completely different aesthetic. You know what I mean? I think, I believe in the human's ability to like spot bullshit. You know what I mean? And so my goal is like always to be as genuine as possible with it. And like, I feel like a lot of my music is like an exploration of myself. I feel like the way I process the world, the way I think of things, it's just like, oh, let me like, when you're like writing a bar and you're like, I only got 5 syllables to like put this cosmic truth, like, you better know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Just to get into like such a like a precise like a little way, I mean, I feel like Chucky BLK is like kind of me. It's like I try to be nerdy, I try to be insightful, I try to be silly, I try to be witty with the words, I try to be as welcoming as I can. I mean, that's like I want people to like I like would less like to be heavy handed. I don't want to tell people what to think or feel. Like I'm just like always interested in like what people take from the music, and just like talking to folks. It's like it's amazing. People be like, this line hit me like this. I'm like, I wasn't even considering that. So like, shout out to the muse for like, like touching people different. And I think that's like the Chucky BLK experience.
Cool. Um, it I I know I read that you said that this post album phase is kind of the time to fill the well and
Yeah.
like consume and engage with the world and other art. And I was wondering what non-music form of art have you found inspiration in lately?
Art. Let me see. Ooh. So I'm a nerd, so I love like sci-fi and just in general. So I feel like that's like where I can like expand myself. So I'm always watching X-Files. I actually stumbled upon this it's like this Twilight Zone-esque film by the Parliament, like the Funkadelics and everything like that. It's called Cosmic Slop, and it was like this 3 like mini story, and it's just like I just love kind of people who think in like weird ways, and like I also finished this book called The 3-Body Problem, and just kind of like this trilogy about like what would happen if we actually met aliens, and like how our resources like divided amongst the universe, and like should we really be like doing like sending radio waves out here to like the abyss when we don't know what's out there. And then what's called I feel like it always comes back to like philosophy. I'm just like I'm always just like trying to see the world from a different lens, and so I'm kind of like a mix of like reading philosophy books. Like I'm right now reading. I call it like pop philosophy. This book called like the Socrates Express, and it's just like this breakdown of like this guy is like, oh, my favorite philosophers and why I think they're relevant to people's lives, and that's been really interesting. And then I'm always just like deep in the YouTube rabbit hole watching people be like, and this is what Nietzsche was talking about, or what can I get from Schopenhauer or whatever. Just because like myself, I don't consider myself very religious at all, or maybe not in the way my father's tradition would maybe be. But I think philosophy, that's what really like fills that well, and that's what I see that as a work I do in my own way. It's like still in the same vein as like preaching, but like it's a different vibe there. You know what I mean? So yeah, just sci-fi and philosophy. I guess that's the answer.
Cool. Do you find yourself like writing down, like if you're reading philosophy, do you ever are you like, man, this has got to go in a song?
Right. Yeah, no, like always. Like I feel like there's like so many. I'm trying to think of like the bars. Like I feel like I used to be a little more heavy handed with it. I would just like watch a video and like, all right, that like that phrase right there. That's a bar by itself, but let me see if I can make it rhyme. So they all find their way in the rhyme somehow. Let me think. I'm trying to think of I think that the whole song. What's the name of it? Man, how do I not know the name of my own song? This is where that's where Spotify kicks in. Excuse me. The song "Top of My List." I feel like that's just like kind of like that's the one produced by my friend Luke, and that's just like me trying to break down like what my philosophy is like of like one must always tinker often and tarry less. Like it's not wasting time, bro. Like there's this world's infinitely beautiful and we have a finite time here. Let's I don't know, bask in that wonder kind of.
Yeah.
Or tell, I hold multitudes, so you choose.
I heard that was you sent that song off like the day before it was like time to turn in the album to get mixed, right? Is that
Yeah.
am I right about that song?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I was like,
Cool.
I'm like over here recording the final verse. Like I was like, okay, cool, we're done. And my friend was like, oh, here's this beat. And I was like, oh man, let me stay up until 4 a.m. and just like write this whole song and record it. Even though my manager was like, hey, we needed the masters like yesterday. Shout out Lauren.
That's great. Man, that would scare me, but turned out great.
Yeah. Right, I'm like this is like low stakes, if that was like at like, I don't know, Columbia Records. I don't even know what a big record company is. And they're like, bro, like we've got your parents hostage. Like, give us an album or else. You know what I mean?
That's
Uh,
funny.
but I
Um,
probably still be like, nah, this needs to be on there.
yeah. Um, so what before we move into kind of talking about like the Austin music scene, I want to ask about like
Mhm.
I just want to see if there's anything you wanted people to know about this album that you know haven't seen anyone make the connection of yet. Like, is there anything that you wanted to stick out that maybe no one's come up to you about?
Um, I mean, I think, I personally think like the writing, the bars, every quality of a rapper in this project is just like it's just at a higher level than anything else I've done in the past. I think it's kind of like, came out right after the election happened, like, in the middle of a pandemic. I feel like not very many, like I don't think it got the attention it like should have. So but people keep on like low-key like hitting me up and be like, oh, I finally listened to it and this is crazy. You know what I mean? So I mean, if you have the time, please peep it. I mean, there's got, you know, great features from like Eldon or my friend Ukeme here in Austin. I think the track So Damn Angry is like one of my favorite tracks. Is produced by a producer here in town named Swish 50, who like, I was just like blessed to have on this project. And it was just like an excerpt from a friend of mine, Sasha Banks. She's like, when you look up like pop and poets, like her name's on that list. So I think just everything about this project, I think also, I guess, pay attention to like the sound clips at the end of the songs, because like I think they like help encompass like the theme of like what the track was about. So, and there's some different ones, just from my YouTube perusing, you know what I mean?
Cool. I love like that's something I love about a lot of rap music is like those little like samples and skits, like it's kind of like the Wu-Tang Clan thing, you know.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I love getting those at the end of the songs.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it feels so unique to the culture, you know what I mean? And it's like I would think about like, rapping sometimes is scrapbooking, you know what I mean? I'm really just like taking what I see in the world, phrases I hear in the world. I'm like, someone will say something, I'm like, damn, that's a bar. You ain't gonna use that, but I will. And it's be some like random words too. Like we'll be talking about like work shit, and they're like, oh, that was like, damn, the internal rhyme was crazy. Let me see. But yeah,
That's cool. Well, I guess we'll move into some stuff about Austin.
the macro. What's up? Went from the micro to the macro.
Yeah. So I just want to first know what your favorite venue is in Austin to, I guess, to go to and to perform at, and why.
Man, it's a tough one. I'm gonna have to say Spider House Ballroom. It's like I found my voice on that stage. I was like 17, like on a school night going out to poetry slams, and like had a lisp and I was like reading really, really fast. And like, like that's where I started. And like, then I was end up like rapping there. I saw like my favorite rapper, Rap Ferreira there, I have had so many experiences, formative ones that happened there that I as much as I want to say something else, like I love doing shit at like Dozen Street. But like Spider House Ballroom, that's like, that takes the cake, I like, they used to have like the, Austin Mic Exchange. I think that was won by Pro Texter and some other folks. And like, I was freestyling terribly outside, like Spider House has seen me in my best and worst. So
Man, I must have caught you like pretty early after, the poetry days then at Spider House, because we were just talking before we started recording about I saw you at Spider House in like 2018, which is that like pretty soon after, like once you started rapping, or when was that transition?
I think that transition was like late 2016. So like
Okay.
I think it's still pretty close, I mean, I just like, you know, what happened, like I would just go to the poetry slam. It was like every Tuesday, and like I was at that point was like running the door and like working with the organizers. That was just like, oh, it's a normal Tuesday thing. Got it. I was already kind of feeling like kind of out of poetry, and I got a new job that I had to work Tuesday nights, and I was like, all right, cool. Well, goodbye. I can blame it on someone else. I'm just kidding. I love that community, but yeah.
Very cool. So I want to know like what do you like about the Austin music scene? What are your dislikes, and if you're willing to share, and also like did you find it was easy to be accepted into the community when you were making that transition from poetry to music?
Yeah, I guess onto the transition. I was lucky. I feel like a lot of people knew me from doing poetry. So like a lot of people were like, oh shit, you're making music now? That's cool. I'm glad. This is actually kind of cool. So it was pretty cool transition. And honestly, as much as I hate it, doing like poetry gigs and like people knowing me from doing that like also led to me getting more gigs and being like, oh, my name, I was Chucky BLK when I was doing poetry, Chucky BLK doing this. So like some people followed or still stayed with me, essentially to that transition. But overall, I feel like I have like a love hate thing with the Austin music scene. I just like I love my homies. I love like I think people I love the Austin hip hop scene. That's what I'll say. I mean, I think there's such a diversity of sound still going on through so many people. We have like I mean, from what you call like Black Alac to like Swish 50 to Okeme to Adrian to Ife Nero, what I mean, to like, I can't like to other folks, I mean, there's like so many different sounds. Mike Melano, folks making so many different unique music. I've like really, really liked the what's called the breaks, those folks like being connected to the scene and like putting folks on, like I feel like I keep on seeing like weird city raps and I'm like, man, like where's like a bunch of weirdos. I feel like Houston has its own sound, has its own culture, what I mean. Dallas has its own sound, and Austin has its own sound by not having a sound, kind of. So like, I feel like there's always people are always like, no one's really blown up out of Austin, and like we because we don't have a sound. But I think that's like the greatest strength. I think somebody like people, it feels like the group, everyone's pretty well connected, to each other. You go to most events and you see like a lot of the same folks in a good way, I mean, like, everyone's out here supporting each other, shirt off feet, I mean, Robot Joe, like other folks, there's so many folks in the scene that I want to shout out, who
Please
are,
do.
Lady Earth, like so many people, like Texas Taliban, DC for Prez, like there's like so many folks like just doing their own thing and just doing it well. And it's just always a pleasure to like be able to go into different places and they're like, oh yeah, what's up, Chucky? And I'm like, yo, what's up, y'all? Like, yeah, I stayed at my house. I don't really go out. I'm pretty introverted, so it's like really cool to see that love. I think there were like a lot of structural inconsistencies that were pointed out this year, with Jackie Venson being like, oh, y'all want me on Blues on the Green, but y'all ain't never had a black person ever, what I mean? And seeing like the people like this like culture of low-key, like, that little like liberal, like neoliberal like racism that I feel like is so like ingrained within like Austin structure, the idea like I-35 was like that was a train tracks, I mean, and now it's cool to be on the east side and it's really cool to like displace black folks, I think that's like within the scene as well, what I mean. So I mean, I'm like, I'm not trying to be a diversity hire for your set, I mean, I just like, but I'm glad there's like this underbelly of folks who are really coming out and starting to support the Austin rap scene. And I always put it like this, like, don't start supporting Austin rappers when you see us on Fader. You know what I mean? yeah. Just like, be here from the roots, like, and trust me, like you'll be watching, growing, and like, loving this community together. Like, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I just a follow-up question. What do you want to see change in like Austin's art economy when shows kind of come back?
Man, I don't know. I would like rap to like to stop being relegated to like the corners, like to like the scraps. You know what I mean? I feel like the rap community here is like it's always been folks who have gathered and like built their own spaces or built their own shows and different things like that. And it's like I want more opportunities for rappers. I want it to not be like dress codes to get into this rap show, or like people like I'm afraid of a shooting happening at this rap show. I'm like, bro, chill, come on, you know what I mean? And I think there's folks doing like I think doing great work, which called you know, there are people doing great work, and like shout out to everybody. Um, like the Dawa Fund, I think it's been monumental. Like out here actively putting like their money where their mouth is and helping Black and brown performers here in town. Yeah, no, I just like I hope like the summer of change, everyone's getting their like anti-racist like books. I hope they like that's actually put into motion, and like just not lip service anymore. And we truly see like the cultural diversity that exists within the art scene that maybe does not exist in the demographics of Austin. So
Yeah, I appreciate your thoughts on those two questions.
yeah, no, thank you for asking them.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so I wanted to ask also, do you have any advice for people in their 20s kind of coming up, trying to do creative work in the scene, and just like navigating that?
Take everything I say with a grain of salt, because like who am I? You know what I mean? But like, I think it's important to know yourself. I think it's important to like understand what you want from this. I feel like there comes a point, where it's like, oh, I've been like at the similar level for the past 3 or 4 years. I see all these people like rising around me, or like people just blowing up out of nowhere, what I mean? And like really just like what keeps people going is like, knowing why they do it. I think I was talking to a homie the other day, and he was like, if you could do anything else, do that. Cause like choosing to be a rapper or whatever, like he's choosing to do it, like, and not making a half-assed attempt. Cause I think that's like, that's the thing. It's like so easy to be like, oh, I just do this casually. And if you do it casually, that's great. But if you're like out here like grinding, but afraid to grind, you'll look back and be like, oh, I regret this entirely. So I say like stay true to yourself, know what you want, and if what you want is this, give it your all, like creatively. Remember, like I like to think this is like a craft. So like, like what do you bring to the table? You know what I mean? And like, what are you doing different? I guess like, and that's just my personal philosophy. I threw that in there. You do whatever you want, but yeah, just I feel like just be aware of why you do this, because like
Sure.
there are hard days, what I mean, and it's easy to lose steam, what I mean, and like that's a constant, that's a hill, that's that boulder, that's that boulder I forever push and be like, should I be doing something like computer engineering? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But then I'm like, oh nah, like I write out one verse and I'm like, oh no, this is why I do this is so yeah.
for sure. Um, can you think of like the last time that happened where you're like, you just got done working on something and you're like, man, this is so good. Like, I'm really, when's the last time you were that stoked on something you did that you were like, man, I'm so glad I'm doing this?
Yeah, no, let me think.
I know that's kind of a hard question, but
That is, what I mean, but like, I think what it was called, so the track a prequel to, like, the original idea of it was supposed to be, I was like, hit up my friend Greg Clifford, great drummer here in Austin. If you're looking for somebody to hit the like the rhythm for you, But I was like hitting him up and I was like, hey, I think it'd be really cool to just like have like a like just like a sporadic, just like jazz, like I mean, kind of deal going on. And he was like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, I got you. And so I was expecting it maybe like a couple weeks after. And it came to a couple weeks. So like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. He was like, oh yeah, no, I got Luke on the keys and horn, and I also have my friend Chase Goldman on the bass. I mean, and he like sent it to me, and it was like a jazz ensemble, and I was like, what? This is crazy, I mean, and it just brought so much more energy to the track, and like, I'm telling you, these guys are like just like mad talented. Like I think my friend Greg actually just did a live stream yesterday. What's today? On the 4th of February, for like I guess monks. They do like a live jazz kind of stream. And it's just like it's crazy the talent like he like cultivates and how crazy that show is. So to have that available for this track, and they were like, "Oh yeah, here you go, this is dope." I was like, shout out, it's really cool to like see the homies how much they've leveled up musically and like how I think myself is like leveled up like music wise, and I was just like I could do with more moments like this because I was shook. I listened to it and I was like, I only asked for drums. What I mean? So shout out to them. They're like the like some of the fundamental folks of like me making music, so shout out to them.
That's awesome. What a cool surprise to get
Right.
something like that. Yeah, that's awesome. I guess you already kind of mentioned a lot of names, which I'll definitely be going back to, but I want to know, is there anyone else that you think people should be looking out for, whether or not they're, musicians or non-musicians, just people working in Austin?
Working in Austin, I mean, I feel like I'm gonna miss names, and that's what I hate. And like someone's like, "Hey, why don't you shout me out?" And I'm like, "I would if I like remember." Yeah, no, I think just like let me see, like my friend Ukeme, he's like honestly one of my favorite rappers here in Austin. And like I feel like rapper is like somehow not the fully encompassing like his creative body. And what's called he's got like he ships for like a lot of I feel like a lot of stuff he like releases is like nice, just like complex like R&B to like the next level, what I mean? And then I'm like, hey man, do you mind throwing a 16 on here? And then you just drop the craziest bars. So I'm like, how do you keep on doing this, bro? like, I gotta re-record my shit right now and to keep up. And then I'm gonna say there's another rapper in town, DC for Prez. Um, just he used to be a part of a group called Pantheon, or I guess he's a member of Pantheon, excuse me. And he released a solo project last year, and it's like one of those things where like I'll still go back to and just like listen, like because like I find something new, and I think he's like one of the I think I love that he holds so true to his like I feel like this kind of like the southern tradition of hip hop, but just like always like the most clever stuff. I'm just like always blown away. I'm like, how do you keep on doing this? So yeah, I think the project dropped in October and it's called All Rats Must Die, and it's just like chef's kiss. It's just that good.
Cool. Yeah. I remember I saw, just a quick side note, is I saw Pantheon, I guess, open up for Waka Flocka on
Turn up
on UT's campus, like for this weird show at a Hog Auditorium. And man, that was so crazy because there's seats there, so everybody's just standing and like pressed in together. It was a good show. Pantheon.
That's awesome. Yeah, all of dudes are talented, so shout out to them. So but yeah, I think those are the two standouts who I just like personally. But I mean, everybody in the scene is like doing great work. So just like just tap in. I think just follow. Just like type in like Austin rap. I don't even know how you look up the homies. You know what I mean? Follow me, and then I'll probably post something and tag somebody, and just follow those people. That's what you need to do. Yeah.
Cool. What just wrapping up with the last couple questions, what are the best ways that people can show you support right now?
Show me support. I've been really like, you know, it's like the normal stuff, like, follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm primarily focused. Like, um, on Twitter, I try to tweet every once in a while. I'm really bad at keeping up with anything on my phone. Um, Honestly, like Bandcamp, I mean, if you like the album, buy the album, I mean, that's like worth infinitely more than like streaming the album, I mean, that puts like, my goal is to like to do this full time, to be able to, devote 40 hours a week to rapping rather than like whatever job I'm working at the time. So I mean, anything that can get me to that financial freedom. I recently just dropped some new merch of scathing critique of current affairs shirts. Buy those. Like, I have different sizes in like own all the means of production, so I can print them all by myself. So all of that supports it's been a strange year, not having the support or the go-to of like performing live. The extra bucks always help. And I mean, like, if you like my music, send it to a homie you think would like some strange hip hop, because like, I I understand that my lane is never going to be a Tory Lanez. I don't think I'm gonna be on a Hot 97, or maybe I will. Maybe I shouldn't limit myself like this. But I mean, your boy is like, on a journey, and maybe that the path less traveled or whatever. And like, all the support like that, I'm trying to get them 1,000 fans, or
Yeah.
I think that's a concept, right? You get 1,000 fans who truly fuck with you, like, and you can like, you're good, I mean, so.
Yeah. Uh, I guess wrapping up, what do you have coming up in terms of, stuff people should look out for, whether it's, I don't know if you really do live streams or anything, but I know we know you have, merch out, and the album came out not too long ago. So, nobody's like pressuring you for new music, but just
Right.
whatever you want to plug, that you've got coming up.
Okay, I guess shout out, which called I think on the 21st I'm doing a live stream with KVRX that will be recorded. So like, watch a live event, that'd be dope, or like watch a recording. I'm really I fuck with KVRX so heavy that I mean, like, I love y'all, like always, like, or I was just like, I'm like randomly, I'm like in a bad mood about like music and art, and y'all are like the Charles is low-key one of my favorite rappers. I'm like, how do y'all know my name? You know what I mean? So like, shout out KVRX one time. I'm hoping I'm gonna try to drop like a Black History Month track. I mean, I'm gonna just do it for the people. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to do it for. I guess if Yerba Mate, if Gyaki, if you're hearing this, your boy would love a sponsorship for the Yerba Mate, because it really leaves my body revitalized. Like, it's my favorite form of caffeine. So hit your boy up, and I don't know, just keep a close track. I'm trying to be a little more loosey goosey as far as releasing music this year. I'm just like, you know, just trying to be, trying to be more flexible, trying to be like water as far as like whenever the music hits. So, just follow me out there. I think I'm starting a series later this month called Check In with Chucky. So, oh, that's perfect. I'm talking about all these Austin artists and rappers I love. I'm trying to do an interview every week with an Austin rapper, 10 to 15 minutes, just talking about art, what the current state of life is, and like what makes them happy, So like, please check that out once that drops. But besides that, take care of yourself. I know it's like we're in the middle of a pandemic still, it's like we're so close to the finish line. So I hope everyone's mental capacities are like, doing right. If you need help, call for help. I mean, if you should be eating healthy, eat healthy if you can, I mean, drink water, do walks, yeah, I just wish blessings upon the folks listening, and you as well, Wes. So
Thank you. Wow,
yeah.
thank you. Wait, just real quick, where do you think people will be able to find check-ins with Chucky?
Checking Chucky, I think that's primarily going to be on my IG, and I think that's Chucky.BLK. So find that. And then I think we might, if it works well, and once we get like the system down, we're gonna try to be posting those on Spotify as like a little podcast.
Awesome, dude. Yes, please
Yeah.
do. That's great. Well, thanks for doing this. And this has been the 3rd episode of the podcast.
Oh, shout out.
Yeah. So thanks for doing it, man.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on here. Like, I was like, oh, interview today. So I'm glad to talk a little bit with you and at y'all in the imaginary spaces. So.
Yeah.